What are you looking at over there?
I'm just looking at some fun facts about Charlotte.
Anything good?
You actually hold the track record at 371.
Ooh.
In dragster.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. 385 Courtney Force. 645 Pro Stock Jason Line. I don't see that getting touched. 577 in Pro Mod. That's probably going to get crushed this year.
What was it in Pro Mod?
577.
Yeah.
Troy Coughlin.
Shouldn't it show up on here?
I think so.
There we go.
Huh, that's interesting. There's some fun facts in here. Yep. So we have, alright, I think we got everything figured out.
You sure?
I think so. Cool. So, here we are, the second Nomex Effect show. Welcome. I'm Shawn Langdon.
J.R. Todd.
This is J.R. Todd. And, here again, we want to bring the show to you guys. We want you guys to interact, send questions in. We got some things that we want to talk about. Pretty big event. We just got back from Houston. Make sure to follow us. Obviously, we're going Facebook Live. Check out our Twitter, Instagram, Nomex Effect. Check us out on YouTube, Nomex Effect. Subscribe to our channel. We'll be posting the live video once we get done, so you guys can check it out there. But some cool stuff from Houston last weekend. I mean, obviously, Mr. Back-to-Back right here.
Hey, man, it doesn't hurt to be lucky.
And it doesn't hurt to be good, too.
You just got to keep riding the wave. You know the feeling.
Yeah, I put out a post. I don't know if anybody saw it, but between JR and I, we've won the last two events. I mean, it's a good team deal. We're on a real heater right now. So obviously JR's been holding up the end of the bargain. Dude's been driving lights out, man. 50s in a funny car. Not even the dragster guys are doing that.
Yeah, well, I probably cheat more than the dragster guys do. But I mean, yeah, you know how it is. I mean, once you get rolling, and we've done some things inside the car that I'm not going to say what we did to help our reaction times. I think it's working, but I think there's also more that we can do to make them better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you try to take it like one step further, because you know, like us. I mean, you came in the class last year, I came in this year. There's a lot of things that we did in the dragster class where, you know, after so many years, you try to take your stuff one step beyond the competition, and you just want to play catch up. You don't want to be as good as these guys. You want to set the bar. And there's so many years that you know, I mean, you and I, we battled in dragster, and you know, with Antron Brown, and there's, you know, so many good guys in that class that were just nailing the tree. And so now we come into funny car and it's a little bit different, but I mean, you're really setting the bar right now, but you look at guys like Beckman and Hagen, and I mean, these guys are killing the tree too.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at guys like Beckman and Robert and Hagen just in qualifying. I mean, because those guys, they'll go out there and have, 070s or 060s in qualifying and 850, 860, 60-foot times, which means, they're shallow as can be, and they're still ripping the tree. So to me, like, those guys set the standard, and I just want to try and get to where they're at.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm just over here being team cheerleader.
Ah, whatever. It looked like you had a fun ride there first round.
So embarrassing. When they say you drive like a rookie, I drove like a rookie. I'm coming into this stuff just learning. And Tommy and Nikki, with out there in Houston, the weather was good. We had really good air on Friday. And obviously really good barometric pressure, low altitude, and but it being dry, there's not a lot of grains in the air, so you're able to make a lot of power. And I think that was some of the issues that people were having on Friday, where the weather was good, but you were detuning it, and the track was good. So I think some people got caught, trying not to make too much power with how good the air was. And it was right on the tire. So my crew chiefs came to me and said, hey, might as well take advantage of this situation. And if the car does shake the tires, go ahead and pedal it. And so the first one, I did okay. I probably graded myself a 4 or 5 on that.
It looked good to me.
I could have done it a little bit better, but it when I pedaled it and it shook the tire, I pedaled it, and it made a pretty good move towards the inside, towards the cones. I ended up shutting it off. So then the next run, Q2 Friday night, did the same thing and pedaled a little better, but just it was pretty all over the place. They ended up shutting me off, and for obviously we don't want to go and blow the motor up, so I got a little feel for it. And then I go Sunday morning, and not really thinking, you don't want to plan for the tire shake, but there's always a possibility of it, and go out there, and I felt the thing. It didn't shake the tire; it just went up in smoke. And so I tried to pedal it as quick as I could. And when I did that, I kind of had a little mishap with what my foot was doing on the pedal, and went to slap it back down and slapped it down the tow hook, and it kind of messed my foot up a little, because then something's not right when you put push the pedal back down. So then I come right back off of it. And then it's just kind of in realization of I need to get back in it, because I'm seeing Tim out there, and I get back on it, and it's just at this point all heck's breaking loose on the thing. And
well, yeah, if your foot's not up in the pedal, then like you don't have control like you want to at that point,
right? And that's basically, well, on top of me being a rookie, but I didn't really have control of it, and I look pretty dumb. I apologize to my guys about that. I'm gonna get better on that, because that was pretty bad. But
comes with time.
Yeah, but you look at guys like, man, I was watching Beckman last weekend. That guy, he pedaled the car good. First round, he went out there and it shook the tire, and he just did a quick pedal and got the thing to recover and did an excellent job on that. And then second round, he ended up having Dell. I forgot who he ran first round. But second round, he had Dell, and they both went up in smoke early into the run. There was quite a bit more track temperature on the track, and they both did a great job of waiting for the car to settle down. And when they got back in the throttle, Beckman just did a really good job of it, got it to recover and got it first to the finish line.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. They panned in on Dell that round, the super slow-mo. Like, he did an awesome job just rolling into it. Like, you never saw like the throttle blades even go half open. They look like they're closed, but he's still on the gas. Like, to me, that's a sign of a badass, that he can feather that lightly and get it to recover.
And you're thinking you have just over an inch to an inch and a half of pedal travel, and to be able, and how much do you think you crack the throttle for a burnout? It's...
Yeah, not much. A quarter of an inch, maybe.
And you're talking, you do a burnout at 6,000, 6,500 RPM. So to have that kind of pedal control is something that isn't learned overnight. This is something that takes a long time to be able to do, but then also to master it. That is a very, very difficult thing to do. I'm still not light years away from that.
I'm still learning how to. It's tough. I feel like it's easier to catch in a funny car when it goes out there and shakes, like you experienced over the weekend. But at the same time, it's fast shake and slow shake. Fast shake is when it's shaking, you gotta catch it quick enough before it smokes the tires, because it happens like that. At least like weak shake, it's shaking your brains out. If you slap it real quick, then it's gonna recover.
Right. Yeah. And that was kind of what I experienced on the Friday deal, was a little bit of the weak shake. But man, I know a lot of people were having issues with one thing that, if you guys watched the coverage last weekend, there was a lot of discrepancy over the track. And a lot of people were talking about, I don't know if some people heard Matt Hagan's interview from Friday night from qualifying for the number one qualifier. And then there was a couple other little tidbits throughout the weekend. Cruz Pedregon had put out a deal about quit complaining about the track, just fix your clutch. But the track was good down low.
The concrete was good.
There was a bump at 660 feet, and it was asphalt from 660 to 1,000, and there was just no rubber on it. So there was once you hit the bump at 660 to go from concrete to asphalt, there was just no rubber. And inside of the car, I mean, you knew right when you hit that bump. Not only did you feel the bump, but you can hear the motor peg.
To me, that was the worst sounding motor, and it was probably that way 7 out of 8 runs last weekend. Just cruising down there fine, not steering it a lot, then just screaming, "Wah!" and you're just waiting for something bad to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear it. You can definitely hear the motor pitch change when you're going across that bump. But I know it played a little bit of havoc for a couple teams, it seemed like. I mean, all in all, we knew going into the weekend, we have TRD, some great guys from TRD that do a lot of our track stuff along with Chad Head. So they came to us on Thursday before we ever made a run, and they said, be prepared this weekend. This weekend's going to be there's a bump in both lanes. It's going to spin. It's not a matter of if or when, or
how bad.
It's just how bad you're going to hit that. So, but everything down low. I mean, you looked at like the on concrete. The cars were flying. I mean, you look at from Pro Stock to Pro Mod to Top Fuel to Funny Car. I mean, everybody, you really had to get after it. And obviously it was a game changer a little bit when the sun came out. But you look at like Brittany's runs. I mean, Brittany was still making some great runs even when the sun did come out. You look at a couple of her runs later, where she was going 376. But I mean, only going 299 miles an hour. So if you really kind of play those runs out, if there was concrete the whole way, or
that thing would have been ripping.
I mean, you're looking at like 372, 373, maybe even a little quicker than that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, like I said, that was by far the worst feeling inside the car. I knew going into that race, once we heard they had ripped up the track and the asphalt was kind of marginal, then getting there and seeing it, that it was just going to be a matter of survival. That, yeah, qualifying didn't really work out for either one of us, but to me that was just a matter of making a good run on Friday night just to set yourself for a good position on Sunday, to where I think Sunday really didn't matter where you qualified. You just need to go out there and make a good run. Other than Robert, he made some good runs on Sunday, but other than that, I feel like the rest of the field was pretty even.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, it was really, what we kind of called it the 660 Nationals.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just basically racing to 660 feet. And, like I said, you were by the numbers early in the run. I mean, there was some, a couple runs like in Dragster could have been, mid-upper 360s. There were some high 360 runs in the dragster. You look at like the funny cars. I mean, what was low in the funny car for the weekend? 380.
I know at one point Robert went 89. I'm not sure if that was low or not.
But I mean, you get that thing running out the back. You're talking, you could pick up a couple hundreds in that last back split. Being hooked up the whole time. So I mean, all in all, Houston was obviously good for JR. He kicked everybody's ass, but it was a fun event. It actually went fairly quick. Had a couple little sprinkles here and there or whatever.
I can't remember the last time we were there and it didn't rain.
Right.
Like, I feel like every year we go there, we're dodging rain and miss qualifying sessions, or you're delayed on Sunday, and we didn't have any delays there. Actually, they moved the sessions up Saturday, which we would have still got it in because it didn't rain. Yeah,
which was actually a pretty cool call by NHRA to try to make sure that we were able to get it in for the fans. Just with the weather coming in, you try to kind of play the game a little bit, but they did it right, and then we were able to get it in. So that was a pretty cool event, pretty neat event. Kind of blew through the thing. I mean, it went pretty quick. There wasn't a whole lot, I think, with the exception of the Nitro Harley rider. I don't really think there was. I
expected way more carnage than what there was, given the track conditions. I think everybody did a good job managing the track.
Yeah, well,
for the most part.
They listened to Cruz and got their clutch.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah, so we there was a little tweet put out by Kevin McKenna that quoted the weekend from Cruz Pedregon. So a lot of people were complaining about the track, and so I guess
rightfully so.
Rightfully so, absolutely, and he had a good car in qualifying, and he just had made a comment about complaining about the track and fix your clutch. So some people kind of took offense to it. I thought it was kind of funny.
I'm glad that somebody else responded right away. Kind of called him out.
Caps was on it. All Capsy was right on it.
I loved it.
So I was just laughing. I thought it was funny. So I asked him how to fix a clutch, and I was asking for one of my friends.
Did he tell you?
No, he didn't tell me. I didn't even go talk to him after that. Yeah. I was gonna make sure everything was all good. But it was good.
Yep.
But yeah, so we got the thing. So I don't know if you saw the little thing that we put out about the show, but I slid. There was a meme that was sent to me by somebody remain anonymous, but it said it was a meme on Cruz about the whole thing.
That was pretty good.
It was pretty funny. I mean, look, we put this stuff out, and we're having fun with this. It's a funny meme. So it said, what did it say? What was it? Was something about Ron? Did Ron Ron must have got his clutch fixed?
Yes, something along those lines.
Yeah, and there was another one. What was the other one that we put out? It was on
the qualifying.
Yeah, the Q5. That was for some of you that may not have watched or whatever, but Force actually didn't make it in this weekend, which broke a consecutive streak.
Like almost 10 years.
That's an unbelievable stat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know NHRA drag racing without John Force. I don't think anybody does.
Most people don't.
Exactly. So to have John Force not racing on a Sunday is absolutely unheard of. So there was a little kind of, I guess, maybe fun. Not really funny. I feel for those guys. Those guys have had a tough year, man.
They have.
With the bodies blowing up and with just all the struggles, and it's, you don't want to we're not laughing at that, but there was a run sheet that was put out for session 5, and it was a John Force session, so he got as many attempts at it as he could to get into the thing. So that was part of if you saw the deal for the Nomex Effect show.
And we're not the ones making these things up.
No, we're getting this stuff sent to us. So don't think that we're doing this.
Right.
We're just passing along. We're the middleman.
Exactly.
We're passing along the information.
We're getting it out to the people.
Exactly. We're showing the people what we see during the weekend. So the behind the scenes stuff, we think it. I mean, it was kind of funny though. I mean,
it was.
We
making light of the situation.
Absolutely, yeah.
And going back to him not qualifying, to me, that's just that goes to show how competitive Funny Car is now. It's where, I mean, I feel like that's going to happen quite a bit this year, where there's good guys not making the show, or there's good guys at the bottom of the field, and you finally go out there and qualify good, and you get matched up with one of them first round, like Caps and Hagen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, shoot, even if I would have got around Wilkerson, it'd have been us. I'd have had, well, yeah, that would have been what, semis? Yeah, because I would have had the winner of I would have had Caps or Hagen. But yeah, I mean, there's no easy draws in the funny car class. I mean, you look at the funny car class is brutal. I mean, funny cars, some of the funny car guys are cutting better lights than the dragster guys. Just saying. But yeah, I would have had, man, I mean, if I get around Wilkerson, then I would have had Hagen, then it would have been you, and I mean, you ran height in the final, and there's really no easy runs. You look at like Beckman. Beckman had that run with Richard Townsend first round, and
oh yeah, they both pedaled it.
Yeah, they both pedaled it, and Townsend did a great job, 418 pedaling it, and Beckman, he races a couple times throughout the year, and Beckman, he's 412, and I mean that's a good drag race.
It's crazy how that happened. So he did that first round, and we ran TJ, and he went 98 against us and goes home. I've been on that end of the spectrum so many times where you go out there and make your best run of the weekend and not enough. And then everybody else struggles to get down the track and moves on.
Yeah, you look at that. Actually height was actually quickest. His quickest ET was 387 first round. But yeah, you look at TJ, I mean, he would have won majority of the other races. I mean, with the 88 light and going 398, man, that's a dang good run.
What else we got going on? Leaving tomorrow for Charlotte, little road trip.
Yep, we're going tomorrow morning. We're going to leave for the 4 wides out in Charlotte. We're going to leave a little bit early. I got to get out there and a little bit early. I'm going to do a little super comp racing this weekend.
Super comp.
So got to get all that put together and try to get that, I guess, Thursday, just kind of get all my throttle stop stuff situated. So go out there early, but yeah, it'll be kind of neat. Do a little double duty this weekend.
So you raced 2 weeks ago in the same car, correct?
Yeah.
Well, what do you have to change from going to a big money bracket race, which this race paid how much to win?
Brandon Taylor won $175,000. Now that's what it paid. So, and then Friday was $50,000 to win.
How much did it pay to win Houston?
For
okay, let's say Super Comp.
NHRA pays $1,800.
Okay. How much does it pay to win Funny Car?
$50,000.
We're idiots.
Yeah, bracket racing, man. It's tough though. Bracket racing, it's no easy.
But yeah, okay. So back to what I was getting at. What do you have to change from when you went and bracket race to running that car this weekend, Super Comp racing?
You're basically like, I run a different carburetor and I run a carb spacer for when I bracket race, and then so basically just changing the throttle, put the throttle stop on, and put the throttle stop carburetor that I run when I do the throttle stop racing. So I'll change that stuff, and then obviously all the rest is just basically all the timers, the shifter timer and the throttle stop timers, and get on all that stuff. It gets affected a little bit more when you go on a throttle stop by the air, so I'll usually put up the weather station, kind of run all the information and all that stuff before we go and race. To where bracket racing, you pretty much run the thing all out, and you'll see a little bit of variance off of the weather, but typically in a national event you're going to make 2 or 3 runs throughout the whole day, to where bracket racing you do 1 race per day, so you're able to make more runs in a timely manner to where the weather change isn't as drastic doing the bracket racing as it is for Super Comp.
And you got a hired gun this weekend, right?
Yeah, so we got Brad Plord's going to drive the other car. So we'll have 2 cars in Super Comp for this weekend. Plord's he's
pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty dangerous. So we'll get him in the car. Hopefully, it's been a while since I've Super Comp raced. I think it's been since last. When was it? Last year, I think in Chicago, maybe it was the last time I had Super Comp race. So we'll get Brad in here. He does it. He does it every weekend. So he'll help me out a little bit. Plus, we got a lot of stuff going on running the car, so it's kind of nice having your buddy there kind of help out a little bit when you potentially need it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll take about a run to knock the rust off.
Hey, we got Ryan Harem coming.
Ooh.
Might have to put a little wager on that, Harem.
Money talks.
Yeah, well, hey.
Eddie's got money on it.
How about this, Harem? You wait Q1, get in the lanes for Q1. We'll be the last pair. And Q1, we'll go out there, we'll do a race. We'll race. You put what money you need. I know you still owe me that car cover for the last 6 months, but that's okay.
Whose car is he driving?
I think he's driving his. He's got his in Jeff Strickland's trailer, I believe. So, you name the amount, Harem. Me and you, Q1. We'll go for it. Out of the box. Yeah, if he's awake. Sometimes he sleeps through Q1.
You'll have that. I try not to do it. How much money are we talking here?
I don't know. Harem, put a deal. Put a deal together. Propose a deal out of the box race.
I'm all of a sudden interested in Super Comp qualifying. Time trials, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's time. Yeah, either way. Oh yeah, they don't have the wind lights in qualifying anymore. I wonder if they still do have the wind lights.
Does it show it on your ticket?
Well, it'll show it on the ticket.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah, it'll say when I drop a harem on his head.
Let's say $100.
Come on,
Eddie.
I know harem's worth more than that. Oh yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll get back to that on harem's deal.
Oh, so we bought some more equipment for our show because the last one we did, we tried to go Facebook Live and record it for a podcast. And found out the hard way that you can only do one or the other. So we had to have a podcast guru come over and show us what to get and how to do it. We're still not real sure.
We're trying to figure it out. But yeah, we got it set up on YouTube. We had some people not really following on Facebook, so we got a lot of feedback through our Twitter stuff that they don't have Facebook. So we tried to figure out a different way. We'll live stream, or well, not live stream, but we'll take the Facebook Live this episode. We'll
YouTube it.
Yeah, we'll put it on our deal at YouTube. So make sure to subscribe. Nomex Effect on our channel. Harem's cheap. Yes, he is. How did I do Carolina? Oh, I did terrible. They kicked my butt.
Yeah, we never talked about that.
Yeah, I didn't do well. I lost second round both days. Drove okay. Had some good lights. Just lost some good races. Had a guy had a 4th thou pack on me. 004 dead on 0. And lost Kevin Brandon one run. And man, I don't know. I lost a couple different ways, but I mean, I drove okay. Car was good. Just those racing, man, it's tough. In those racing, you got to not only do you have to hit the tree and run close to your dial in, but I mean, these guys are You got to pull into the lanes at the right times. The biggest thing. I mean, it's just like what we're talking about. Like with TJ, he comes out and makes a good run first round. But you just run the wrong guy at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Because as much as, you'll go up there and the guy will have a 4-pack and you'll be 8 on the tree, then the pair behind you, guy probably win at the 20 light. So just kind of a lot of it's a luck of the draw.
What's this place we're going next week after Charlotte?
Oh, so I'm going to go to Galat. Galat is Spring Fling. Kyle Seipel and Peter Bionda. They actually just had the Spring Fling Million last week in Vegas. Laramie Reed won that, I believe. Big day, man. I think $250,000 to win.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I almost called in sick for Houston because I only paid $50,000.
Yeah, clearly it would have been better off.
But I don't know if I would have won that. Because he was driving lights out. He was driving good.
That's a serious payday.
Yeah, so, we'll go to Galat Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in between Charlotte and Atlanta. And then Thursday.
I'm going to cook hot dogs.
JR's going to go. He's going to cook hot dogs.
Keep the beer cold.
Yeah. So, and then Thursday night when we get done racing, which, hopefully if we win the race, it'll probably get done about 10, 11 o'clock. So it's about a 7-hour drive over to Atlanta because we got Super Comp Q1 about 9 a.m. in the morning, maybe 8:30 depending on how they schedule it. So,
I might be in bed still.
Well, so I might be driving through the night. I might get about an hour of sleep, which I still have to swap everything back over because we'll be in bracket mode there. Swap it all back over to Super Comp. So we'll it'll be fun though, man. That's what's cool. That's what I like about racing is doing those trips like that, kind of like where you're not stopping, man. You're going, you're racing, and
you stay in a rhythm.
You stay in the rhythm exactly, and it's you're driving from one race to the other. So we're gonna go race Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Charlotte. Monday drive over to Galat. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday race Galat. Drive through the night. Friday morning race Atlanta. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then just drive back home after that.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the early part of our seasons. There's too much downtime in between races.
Yeah, well, what do we do? We got coming up. It's going to get pretty hectic.
Yeah, we got
like 8 of 10.
Three in a row starting right now.
Yeah, we got 3 in a row, and then we got so basically like 8 to 10,
which I'm happy with.
Oh yeah, no, I like it because I like what if you. I like it for multiple reasons when you're running back to back like that, because if you have a bad race, you don't want to sit on it for 2 weeks. You just want to get right back out there and get it out of your head and go and race. But then on the same side of it, if you're starting to, like for you, you're kind of on a heater right now, so might as well ride out that hot streak.
Yes, sir. Yeah, for me, I don't like sitting at home. A week off when you have 3 or 4 in a row, that's fine. But when you got 2 weeks off, it just feels like you forget things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Do you know if Charlotte has a Christmas tree that the spectators on the grandstand are able to see? Vegas had none, and that was quite bad.
I'm not sure.
It's NHRA. There's no telling.
Wouldn't it? They would have to have 2 of them, right?
Yeah. There's no telling what they're going to do. I agree with you. I actually like it because if I'm sitting in the car.
Yeah, in the lanes.
Yeah, they had it in Houston. But if I'm sitting in the car a pair or 2 back, you can't always see the tree. And a lot of times, like a couple pair back, if I'm sitting in the car, I like to watch the tree because I like to kind of get that rhythm going where you're staged and in a certain amount of time you're hitting the gas. So you kind of get that rhythm going. But a lot of times with so many people on the starting line, you can't see the bulb. So when they put those trees up, I'll actually look up at those trees and watch it. Just that's the only thing that you can see.
Yeah.
So it's definitely beneficial for us to have that too. And why NHRA does or doesn't put that up, we have no clue. We can't answer. We can't speak for them.
Whatever you can do to make the fans happy,
do it.
You need to do it.
Yeah. Maybe they'll have a complaint box that you could put that into. Because I agree with you. We definitely do need that. I seen that someone put earlier. What do you think about Erica running Pro Mod?
I think it's good. She said she's willing to drive anything. I mean, whenever you have somebody that's a well-known name like her going to a class like Pro Mod, it's just going to draw more attention to that class, and that's an exciting, fun class to watch. And I think she'll be good in there. Especially, I mean, you never know what's going on with pro stock in the future.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at like Erica. Erica can drive
for sure.
She's a driver. I mean, you look at her lights. I mean, you could tell. For me, I think a lot of the like drivers, for me, I like to drive I like to go double duty. I like to drive more cars because I think it keeps me mentally fit, where you're not thinking or concentrating or overthinking. You're just doing, and you're just driving. And you look at her lights in Pro Stock last weekend, and she was ripping. I mean, she's 17, 14, 11, and 18 in the final.
Yeah, when you're consistent like that means you're good. You're a badass.
You're in the zone. And even though she didn't qualify in the Pro Mod class, I mean, it was their first race.
Right.
In the Pro Mod class, let's be honest, that class that's pretty...
It's tough. What was the bump there?
I'm looking that up right now, but I think it was somewhere along like 582,
right,
or something like that. And I think number one qualifier was 569. Actually 583 won Danny Rowe. But what's cool, what I like about that class is they got 28 cars showing up, and there's a lot of cars that didn't qualify that are fast running cars. I mean,
yeah.
You know, Richie and Erica and Steve Matusik and Chip King, Sidney Frigo, Dan Stevens. I mean, there's, you know, Pete Farber. There's a lot of fast cars, but you look at, like, you kind of get into the middle grouping of it, and I mean, it's just kind of like the pro classes. 0.03 of a second separates top half from the bottom half, and I mean, you can see that won or lost on the starting line.
Yeah, I feel like if she's one of those, if she gets qualified, that she could do some damage on race day, no matter where she qualifies.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's just where the driving comes in. You put a good driver in a good car, or you put a good driver in a mediocre car. I mean, they can make it a good car. You keep getting those opportunities to go back up, and you know, eventually you get enough runs, you're gonna get it figured out.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're brand new to the class, so give them time. They'll be winning races soon.
Yeah. Pro Mod would be fun though. Well, you ran Pro Mod.
It was fun though. What we did was only 8th mile, the 80 RL series, the big screw blower on it, but it was a lot of fun. I would definitely drive one again.
What do you think's harder to drive, funny car or Pro Mod?
Funny car, hands down. Everybody thinks that they're similar just because they're both all over the track, but to me, you drive a Pro Mod like driving a dragster, a top fuel dragster. You just get in there and don't be real aggressive with the steering wheel. Where, like, I feel like a lot of those guys get in there and they're sawing on the wheel, and they're suspended cars, so that upsets it. And you do not want to crank on the wheel like you do in a funny car, or else I feel like you'll turn those things over.
Yeah, it looked like there was a couple guys. I think Rebellis put up a couple pictures of a couple of the Pro Mod guys all over the place. Seen a couple Pro Stock cars getting pretty loose too.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know a couple of them were kind of saying that.
And that all kind of goes back to tricky track there.
Yeah, I know a lot of them were saying they were seeing that bump pretty bad too, where they could definitely see that in like the engine RPMs where it was spinning. It was good down low, like they said, but
after seeing some of the super slow-mos on TV, the top fuel cars hitting that bump, it's pretty wild looking. It looks way worse on TV than I feel like what it actually is or was.
Yeah, I think I saw like Terry McMillan's car hit the bump, and it was like, I mean, on the skid plates, it was sparking them. It's like, that's a pretty big bump to get it to do that. Exactly.
So hopefully, if we're going back there next year, they got all that resolved and smoothed out.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure NHRA will go down there and make sure it's all good. I'm sure.
You're sure?
I'm not sure.
If not, Chad will get down there and straighten them out.
Yeah, we got Chad Head for that. He'll take care of it. So we're going back Charlotte in a 4 wide.
4 wide. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah. The 4 wide, like we kind of talked about before, the 4 wides they're fun. I mean, it's different. It's something different, man. I really wish, I had actually, somebody was texting me about that earlier today, and they were saying, what would it be like, how could we get, what did they call that? The showdown or something like that? Where the dragsters race the funny cars?
Yeah. What was it? The Winston Showdown or something like that?
I mean, if we had something like that, I really want to do that. I don't mind doing the 4 wides. It's all right. I mean, I think it's harder to watch than it is to actually race.
Correct. There's so much going on. There's 2 win lights that come on. You don't know which one is the actual winner.
Yeah. Well, like, for instance, when I was on the starting line, and I was so confused in the final round when I was watching you. I was standing behind your car, and I see you leave, and I see Tommy out there. I'm thinking, like, shit. Well,
he murdered everybody on the starting line is what you think.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, damn, come on, JR, get second. But then, like, I don't really understand what's going on, and I see everybody jumping up and down, and I'm trying to look up kind of back behind us where they have the big screen. So I'm looking up there, and then I'm thinking, like, well, maybe he's a close second, and then I turn back around, and your guys are all jumping up and down, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, are we those guys that are jumping up and down when we didn't win?
Because a lot of people have done it in the past.
A lot of people have done it. And then I hear somebody say TJ went red, and so, yeah, so I was, I mean, it was probably, I'd say, a good 20 seconds after you won before I finally, like, fist pumped.
Brian, well, that's the thing. So if you're over in lanes 3 and 4, there's a tree for you over there. You can't see the tree lane 2, so, like, no one knew that he red lit because his tree's over here, correct?
Right, exactly.
That's the part I don't like about it. But it is what it is. I mean, I think it should be a high-paying money race, like a shootout, like you said. Maybe no points. Something that's also, like, going to draw in a lot of fans, but just be like a no pressure type big money paying race.
Yeah, we need something like that. We need a tracks of shootout back. That was cool.
Yeah.
We need some type of shootout back. 8 cars, 100,000 to win.
Right, no fan vote crap. Just the 8 best cars in the class duking it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of neat to get some of the fans involved in it on that, but it kind of reminded me a lot of, like, getting back into, like, the high school.
It's like a popularity contest.
Popularity, a little bit of that, yeah. So, but I mean, that's kind of what you do in those situations. But, I think it's more of just drawing back, like, we need it a little bit different. We kind of do the same thing every Sunday, $50,000 to win. But what I would love to do is I would love to do a Saturday night race. Dude,
I don't know why we haven't.
Qualify something like, qualify on Friday, right? And then Saturday, like, maybe do first round around, and I'm talking like in the summertime when it's hot.
Right.
But you start first round at, like, say 5 o'clock or something like that. But you kind of get it scheduled to where you're going to, or even if you want to do the 4 wides or something like that, but you kind of schedule it to where, like, the last run down the track's 10 o'clock, An
actual night race.
Yeah, you do an actual night race. I think, man, that'd be badass. I mean, I go into, like, some of these, like the sprint car races or like the World of Outlaw stuff, or, you kind of do, like, the Saturday night thing, and it kind of has that little bit of, like, home track feeling, but it's cool because, not everybody's in such a rush to get out of there.
Yep.
where it's like after the race, everybody wants to hang out and have a good time and, you know, maybe have a couple beers or have, you know, grill out or whatever. But it seems like a lot of times Sunday, it's like everybody's, you know, halfway through the day, you see the midway getting torn down, and you see, like, you know, if somebody loses first round, then they're trying to pull their awning down, and you just don't have that full race effect feeling always on a Sunday.
When I raced IHRA for Bruce Litton, that's what we would do. We made 2 qualifying runs on Friday, I think it was, one early Saturday, and then we raced Saturday night.
Right.
But it was only an 8-car field, but still, I think that we could do that, especially with the 4 wide, because it's only 3 rounds of racing.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, do some call outs.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Exactly. They had actually talked about maybe doing, like, just, you know, kind of racer banter, I guess, and talking or whatever, but we had kind of looked at some stuff of, like, you know, how do we change it up, but maybe do something like the number 1 qualifier gets first call out, and you pick who you race. So you go out on stage, you're number 1 qualifier, who do you want? Do you want the guy that barely qualified, or do you want the guy that's maybe
the hottest guy out there right now?
Maybe a guy that's right in front of you in the points.
Right.
You want to get by that guy in points.
Exactly.
I think that'd be awesome.
I think it would be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could kind of create that little bit of opportunity for a rivalry, maybe, where guys are constantly calling out maybe one particular person, and it kind of starts rubbing them the wrong way.
Yeah, it would definitely create a buzz for our sport, which those other guys on TV already do it, and they have a huge following, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I did have a question, though, the other day. Somebody had sent me, they're like, make sure you talk about this on the show. But they had said, so who do you think, or, well, they didn't say it like that, but they said, so who plays the most games on the starting line?
I don't know if it's games, but there are a couple drivers in our class that mess around on the starting line.
Who do you think plays the most games? See, that's kind of what I thought. I don't know. I don't think they're intentionally.
Yeah, I think they're just slow.
Yeah, I don't think that, like, there's any, like, one person that's, like, intentionally, I'm gonna go and play games on the starting line. Like, I just think that there's some people that get in certain routines that do that. I mean, I had a couple instances in Top Fuel Dragster where some people tried to play some games.
That's what I was gonna say. Last year, at least there was somebody, maybe 2 people in Top Fuel that were playing games.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. But in Funny Car, I think it's a little different than Dragster. I think Dragster, for the most part, there's more of a quote-unquote gentleman's agreement.
Right.
Where everybody is pretty good as far as staging in a timely manner. So you may be in for a second or 2 max, but everybody pretty much goes in at the same time. Pretty much kind of follows the trend. Everybody stages shallow, tries to cut the best light possible, and you kind of race on. Now, you go to Funny Car, and it's different.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Funny Car, it's acceptable to just dump it in a little bit, and everybody kind of accepts it. And so it's, you know...
And there's really no reason for it.
No.
Other than, say, like, Force does it, and he owns everything, and he's allowed to.
Right.
So therefore, the guys that are hired to drive are like, well, I'm not going to get tattooed by 300 or 400s because he dumped it in, I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's all equivalent in the end. I mean, what you roll it in is, and pick up for yourself on reaction time, you lose an ET, so, you know, it's...
That's what I'm saying. If you plug it in, like, you better damn well make up for it.
You don't miss the tree. That's a fact. You can't miss the tree.
I remember Dell and Force raced each other. It might have been 2015. 2014. But like Force stuffed it in, and his reaction time read quicker than Dell's, but Dell actually left first.
Right. Yeah. And there's that opportunity, and the problem is like when you're on the losing end of that where the guy dumps it in, it's like, well, how do you really take that into consideration? Because you don't want to be that driver saying, well, he just dumped it in and kind of pass the blame. Like, I mean, technically you did lose on a hole shot, but then again, technically you really didn't.
Right.
So it's a tough kind of thing to do, but you look at like the funny car class. I mean, I think for the most part, there's really nobody. I mean, I think, Force likes to stage last. Now, is that a problem? No. That's just what he does, and everybody knows it. So if you're willing to challenge a guy that's done it for the last 20 years and the last 30 years, and that has been through any situation, and you kind of challenge him, I think you're kind of challenging him at his own game. But there's always the opportunity that that Force is going to stage last.
Right. And I don't know. I've also heard that, okay, if you're going to sit there, you're going to make him go in first, then you've just pissed him off even more that he might be better.
But there's a good chance of that because he's been in those situations.
Right.
Yeah. So you look at, but yeah, I think I haven't really seen too much else besides that.
No, like I haven't seen somebody hang somebody out or double bulb anybody or stupid things like that.
Seen that in dragsters though.
Yeah, it's amateurs.
Yeah. There's so many tough situations that you kind of get put in where, I mean, we seen a crazy thing last week. I showed you.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
So yeah, that was kind of a weird situation where at the Million last weekend, the Spring Fling Million, where there's actually a driver that tricked the auto start. And what he did was, when they were both pre-staged, they were in a staging battle. Nobody wanted to go in and stage.
And why would you do that?
I think certain drivers get in certain rhythms, and they just say, we're going to stage last. So, that's just kind of like their mentality. So you look at that, and I think you can't really put yourself in a situation that you're going to leave yourself vulnerable. And I think that's what this guy did, was he was so dead set that I'm going to stage last, and he didn't know the system, and he didn't know how this stuff works, and was vulnerable to the fact of that. He went in, Johnny Ezel, blinked the bottom bowl, but blinked it on long enough by turning the wheel that it activated the auto start, and sat there because you have 7 seconds to get in after that. So went in about 5 or 6 seconds, and then the guy gets an automatic red.
Yeah, I mean, you've been telling me this for probably 2 years now about how it can be done. I've never once seen somebody do it until that video. I thought it was awesome. But do you think there's enough guys in sportsman racing that know about that?
Yeah.
Just, he finally caught the right guy.
I mean, you got to understand, like, a lot of these bracket guys, these bracket racers, they do this every weekend.
Right.
And they do this during the week.
Right.
So they figure out the tricks of the trade, because at some point everybody has the same stuff. At some point every driver can cut a light. At some point every driver has the best race car on the property. So what separates you from all those other people? And that's how these bracket racers are, man. They take themselves to this next level, and they create these new challenges, and they find all these loopholes, and they're able to attack every single thing. I mean, all these things that, like, what I feel like I've brought to the table in the top field class of certain things, like I've learned in the bracket racing division. And those are things that, like, I've implemented myself while I've been bracket racing to make myself a better, consistent driver. And I think, like, these bracket racers, man, they find all of these little niches and glitches and you name it. I mean, there's certain things that we know in the tree, how you can manipulate the tree.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you're talking 100+ thousand to win a race, I'd probably come up with some things like that also.
Right. And so, I mean, there's certain ways that you can manipulate the tree. I mean, we're on a random tree, but there's certain ways you can manipulate things to make it a short tree or a long tree. And you know how it is. You hang those last couple tenths, where tree shorter or longer. I mean, it's some drivers like long trees, some drivers like short trees. So it's, there's a lot of things that you can do.
How pissed do you think that guy was? Or do you know?
Pissed. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, probably not understanding the situation that, like, you got timed out.
Right. Like going to the tower, like, what the hell just happened?
You got timed out. That's all there is to it. There's nothing.
I know I'd be mad, but don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah. Ultimately, I mean, understanding that, you have auto start and understanding, that in auto start, how many seconds. I mean, these are all things that you kind of have to know if you're going to play the game, because and it doesn't matter what car or what class you're doing, you think you know it all, there's always somebody that knows a little bit more.
Right. So
sometimes you kind of have to play the game with a little. You can't always play the game. There's always somebody that knows the game a little bit better than you.
I could see, like, Dave Conley doing that in pro stock.
We need Dave Conley back in pro stock.
We do.
That dude he's a driver, man. We need Conley. We need to. I mean, Tanner Gray does a damn good job, though. Let's be honest.
He does, and he's brand new.
Tanner Gray, I mean, he went red last weekend, but he's going to have that. I mean,
and it's not like he has a big drag racing background for how good he is.
Right. I mean, he rolled right into this class and started just ripping the tree. I mean, the dude was crushing the tree. He sets up teen, and a lot of the pro stock guys seem like they're 20s and 30s, but there's a couple select few that kind of push the envelope a little bit, and I think,
yeah, why not?
I think Tanner's one of those guys that he's able to, because he's able to kind of create that small window on the reaction times where he's able to be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, he was 11 red last weekend, but man, you're gonna have that when you're that close on the tree. You're gonna have some. I mean, it's the same thing in, like, funny car, what we do. I mean, you're sitting up there going 50s and 60s, but every once in a while, or I guess in funny car, 50s and 60s is really good. But typically, about it seems like 70s is kind of the average. But if you're kind of in your range, and then you pick up a couple hundreds, it's not really in a top fuel or a funny car. Like, they're just like, man, they cut a great light. Well, yes, they did cut a good light. It's kind of the same thing in, like, a dragster when you see the guy who goes 20s and 30s. Like,
right.
Oh man, he crushed a tree. Well,
nah,
he got lucky, because
he caught it.
Exactly. Like, he couldn't go back up there and do that again. So this is something that I tried to get changed, because when they went to the LED bulbs, they added that 300ths of a second. This is way back, 10, 13 years ago, whenever. But I'd really like it to be where in a dragster or a funny car, you're up there hitting the tree, and rather than being like in a funny car, 60s and 70s is like your best hit, take out that delay. Like, get it to where we can hit the tree and we're 20s and 30s.
Yeah, it looks like we're pro stock guys.
Right. So, okay, that's fine. So we're 20s and 30s, but what you do in that instance is you take it away from the guy that doesn't really care in the sense about staging, and he just says, you know what? I can only go 80 or 90, so I'm just going to roll it in deep, and I'm going to go 30 on the tree and get 400ths advantage over this guy.
Right.
Because he doesn't have anybody to answer to. But when you're a paid driver, you got to answer to your boss, and your boss wants you to stay shallow. So there's a 700ths, if you're 70, there's a 700ths window that they could potentially gain by either rolling it in deep or hitting the gas early and going 10 or 20 on the tree and catching it just right. But if you narrow up that window, you kind of bring it to the good drivers, the shallow stagers. The consistent drivers are the better drivers, not the ones that kind of take a guess at the tree.
Right.
And I think that you would be more rewarding the better, more consistent driver.
I think so. That, to me, it also is not as confusing for the newer fans if they would do that. Wondering, why do pro stock motorcycles and pro stock cars have better reaction times than you guys? Because I remember back to Conley, when he would move the top fuel car, fans, oh man, he's going to kill you guys just because he's so great on the tree. Like, well, yeah, he's good, but it's not that he's that much better in a pro stock car than we were in a top fuel car hitting the tree.
Yeah, and I mean, you're leaving on,
a dead idle.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, to me, the common fan doesn't understand that. You have to explain that to him.
Yeah, so I mean, in the dragster, you're leaving at a dead idle. Yeah, and I mean, I enjoyed it when Connolly started running dragster because it was another good driver that came in and kind of like where you could kind of base yourself off of.
Yes, correct.
There was a couple of us, there for a couple of years that, like you and I and Conley and Antron, it'd kind of be like us four where we'd kind of generally base off of each other, where you could figure out real quick where you stood
right
competitively. But yeah, so yeah, when he come in, yeah, I mean, it was kind of neat because just a great driver and stage a car shallow and flicker the bulb and
right,
crushing the tree and
yeah. The answer to this comment, they can change the settings on the tree per class, so it wouldn't matter for bikes and pro stock cars. They would just keep theirs the same.
Right. So yeah, like when they brought the LED lights in, the pro stock guys and the bikes were having a lot of issues, red light, and they couldn't slow their cars down. But yeah, you can, I mean, to my knowledge, you could go into the computer system and it's just part of the programming that you would have per class, per the settings. You would go in and program it to where, you'd have X for this class and Y for that class type of deal. So, why is their screen flop backwards? I don't think it is it?
Your stickers are upside down on yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, I put upside down stickers because it looks right when I roll like that.
Got an algorithm comment there. That has been working out lately.
Yeah. So, oh man, what do we got? What do we got coming up? We got Charlotte, we got Atlanta, we got Topeka.
I like Topeka. A lot of people don't like going to Topeka, which, yeah, there's nothing to do there, but that racetrack is by far one of the best, if not the best track we race on all year.
Topeka can be very fast. Yeah. And Topeka could be very slow, but it's not track dependent a lot of times. A lot of times it's weather dependent.
Yes.
Because the weather can be really good or the weather can go, I mean, it can go just
get nasty.
Nasty, humid, hot. So yeah, that's a very weather dependent track, but man, if we get the right weather at Topeka, you can really, really lay down some good runs. I mean, that's a good track. Except for that's a track that you make sure you're on time because that's a far walk to the staging lanes.
Yeah, you won't want to be stuck in your lounge doing something and miss your ride.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to miss your ride there. That's a long walk. Plus, Topeka, they got some good golf courses there.
Yeah.
They got some good entertainment there. For anybody that generally goes to Topeka.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah. Man, what about Englishtown? I'm going to kind of miss Englishtown this year, I think.
You know what I'm going to miss is going to New York City. Yeah. Which we still can, but it's just when you're in Englishtown, it's so easy to go there.
Yeah. I mean, like where we stay, you just hop right on a train. It takes you right downtown and drops you off at Penn Station, and you can go check out downtown. I mean, last year, man, we had a good time. Me, you, and Brandon.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We stayed down there for a few days downtown, and was that in between? Was that in between Epping?
Yeah, Epping and Englishtown were back to back, so we spent the week there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man, that was so much fun. What do you think? What's your favorite track that you go to on tour?
I like Pomona, just because to me it feels different when you roll in there at the beginning of the year and the end of the year. It just feels different than any other race. I like going there because of the history, but I also like Sonoma for whatever reason.
Sonoma's fun. I like Sonoma. So, yeah, Seattle is very difficult to get in and out of. More to get out of, it seems like, for me. A couple years ago, I got stuck in Red Key, and they shut down Red Key, and I ended up missing my flight Sunday night because the guards wouldn't let me out the back gate.
I bitch about this every race. Like, we need a dedicated entrance and exit.
Yeah, so they have like a back exit in Seattle, but you have to have a special pass. But it seems like majority of the time, the only people that have the special passes are the NHRA people.
Gotta catch those flights, man.
So, like, but I mean, it's very difficult to figure it out, and then getting in and out. I don't know, other tracks that are difficult to get in and out of.
Gainesville.
Yeah, so don't be late, and don't try to run cops over, and don't try to jump curbs, and you get fined.
Phoenix can be tough because it's like a damn maze the way they route you in there.
Yeah, Phoenix. Majority of the tracks, I mean, it's majority of the tracks are can be difficult if you go in at the wrong time. You just
right. You just gotta know when to get there.
Yeah, don't show up late.
Yep.
And you get fined.
The popo gets mad when you do that.
No, it's only when you try to like run them over. But yeah, for the most part, most of our tracks are pretty good. I mean, you're always going to kind of have a little bit of line that you're going to wait in. I think Epping probably the first year
that was bad
takes the cake on it, but since then they've done an excellent job of just rerouting the traffic and kind of getting everybody in and out of there. But I remember, I'm pretty sure it was the first year.
Were you driving for AJ?
I was driving for AJ, and he was coming to the track, and he ended up getting out of his car and leaving his car, and McCutcheon had to go out the track and go pick him up.
Because it was like an hour at least wait, right?
It was
like traffic was not moving. They had like, no place to park people, so traffic was just stopped.
Yeah, I think I showed up like 6 hours before we ran because I didn't want to get caught up in the traffic. I figured I'd just go and watch sportsman cars. But yeah, they put like a memo out. But yeah, I remember McCutcheon was just like shaking his head because he had to sit out in the line for so long and waited out, which was a good thing because he went up to go get AJ, but gave him the scooter or whatever he did, and AJ ended up getting inside. But I mean, probably wouldn't have made it in time for the run because I mean the traffic was pretty bad. But
then you guys had a pit issue that weekend, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that was terrible. Oh, that was so terrible. They had some sewer issue and
it was nasty.
But they got that fixed, so we'll get.
Yeah, I like going there. I like going to different parts of the country like that.
Yeah. Epping's actually really cool. You're 20 minutes from the beach. Go out to the beach, even though you don't go in the water because it's freezing.
Get some good lobster.
Yeah, get some great lobster. Dang, what's that hotel? Well, we stayed there a couple years.
With the baseball field.
With the baseball field. You actually stay. What is it? Is it like a Marriott?
Maybe.
I think it might be like a Marriott. Yeah, you stay at, and then you go out the back, and it's kind of like a patio, and you all hang out on the patio, and
it's in the outfield of a minor league stadium, right?
Yeah. So a couple years ago, I just kind of went out there and kicked it out there, and got some dinner and grabbed a couple beers. And actually, my room was, I don't know, second, third level or whatever, but it oversaw the whole field to watch the back end of the game, and that was pretty neat. Yeah, so Richmond.
I like Richmond. Although it's probably going to be hot and nasty when we get there. Like, Now it's all concrete, so it's going to be even better than what it was, or should be.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot. I think Richmond was my first year, 09.
Okay.
So I don't really remember a whole lot about that. I've only been there once.
It can be fast. And I know they just had a divisional race there last weekend. Like, A Fuel cars hauled ass there.
That's right. They I think the bump ended up being
like 20 something,
like a 527 or a 528.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the A Fuel cars were going. I think a couple of them went 5 teens, 280. I think a alcohol funny car was like 540.
Yeah, I like it there.
So yeah, that'd be awesome. Go there, be fast.
I'm just glad that they picked up a race after the whole deal at the English Channel. That would suck just to not have 24 races. I think.
Yeah. I think having 24 races is. I mean, it can be long and then it can be grueling. But I like it because how they have it kind of spread out a little bit. I wish they kind of maybe tighten it up a little, but
so do I. Like, pick up some more at the beginning of the year, I feel like.
Yeah, it's kind of neat when we go and we race, but man, it's kind of tough. Like when you race and you get 2 or 3 weeks off, and then you race and you get 2 weeks off, and
that's why you're always bracket racing.
Yeah. So actually, looking at my schedule, I have one off weekend until Thanksgiving, Mother's Day weekend. That's my only off weekend.
Sounds like fun. One rain out could just screw that all up for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but I don't know if not too many people are going to race Mother's Day weekend.
No.
I mean, I know NHRA won't. So, yeah, all they'll probably do is they'll probably just back up one of their nationals and put it on some of the bracket racing. But yeah. Yeah, I got my but see, the way I look at it is if I would have, trust me, I was running my funny car last weekend, but I was online all weekend long, and I was pissed because the service at the track
it was terrible.
And it's nothing against Houston, because it's 90% of the tracks that we go to, our service stinks. And I mean, sometimes Verizon may be a little bit better than AT&T. Sometimes AT&T may be a little better than Verizon, but on a general basis, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, during the times, I don't know if when they got the TV trucks rolling or what it is, but there's something that our phones just don't work. And so I was out there in the morning trying to watch the Spring Fling Million, and I was trying to get it. I brought my laptop out and I did all this stuff, and I mean, I was really dead set on, like, when I get like 5 free seconds, I'm gonna watch the Spring Fling. Well, I couldn't watch any of it, and especially on the Million. So yeah, man, I was pissed. We got to figure out a way, NHRA, to get
some portable cell towers, man.
Yeah, because we try to, even like when we try to tweet or we try to do things at the racetrack. You got
don't complain about us not being active on social media.
We got to figure out a way, because like I'm trying to tweet and I'm like walking around this whole. Everything but maybe like getting like rabbit ears stuck on my phone to try to get more service. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out ways to get better service with my phone so we can do stuff where I could watch more. So long story short for Greg Stanley is I ended up hurrying up, getting all my stuff done, and I got out of the track and got back to my hotel room so I could watch the last 3 rounds of the Spring Fling Million, because that's what I love to watch. So we need to tie a cell tower onto Cody.
Craig's asking about shut off on Forrest's car. I think pan pressure shut his car off in Q4. Either that or they shut him off. I'm not sure, but we've had pan pressure switches since 2010, 2011.
Yeah, and I believe that's what they referred on the TV show as, that Q4 he had a cylinder out, so more than likely the pan pressure switch shut it off. I mean, obviously the guys could have done that from the starting line as well, but yeah, we've had a couple runs on our car, or well, one run in particular in Vegas qualifying that the pan pressure switch shut it off, and all that's doing is it's just a safety device that is very that we need because of when it gets pan pressure, it shuts the car off to where it'll help save an explosion, potentially blowing the body off of it. So that's a very useful tool for the crew chiefs and also for the drivers and also for the team owners who pay for it all.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, I mean, did it cost him qualifying? Maybe, but it also probably saved him some money in the long run if that's what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, well, man.
Yeah, we're going to have to try and take this equipment on the road and do something next week.
Yeah.
Maybe from Galat.
Yeah, I think maybe we could do something like that. We can maybe, we'll check in from Galat, from the racetrack, go over the 4 wides next weekend in Charlotte, maybe give you a little preview for Atlanta.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we can do, man, we can almost do anything now. We're getting more equipment. We're kind of getting used to all this stuff. So, make sure, Facebook Live, make sure you check in, follow us on Nomex Effect, on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Nomex Effect. Just ask the questions, man. Send us in the questions, what you guys want to know, what you want to hear.
NomexEffect@gmail.com.
Yep. If you guys purchase any apparel, got hats, we got shirts, we got stickers, like my upside down one right here.
Website's coming soon.
Yep, working on the website. We'll try to get everything as much as we can in a timely manner. We're trying to keep up with all this stuff, but we're trying to do all our other stuff as well. So, but yeah, tune in. We'll come to you next week, Tuesday, more than likely.
Yeah, man.
JR will probably be heading majority of that because hopefully I'll be racing from the Spring Fling in Galat. So tune in. Make sure to check us out. And any questions, send them our way. Thank you, guys.